Godzilla in 1962 here, and in the late 1960s, one of the most famous Godzilla designs was introduced. This Godzilla did many memorable things, like being covered in blood, fighting the villainous King Ghidorah, and, most famous of all, he flew. So let's dive deep into the history of SoshingekiGoji. For the release of Son of Godzilla in 1967, the Godzilla suit was Musakagoji, and this suit was designed so that Godzilla looked like his son. But when making the next film in the franchise, Destroy All Monsters, the Musakagoji suit wouldn't be brought back. This was most likely due to the fact that Destroy All Monsters was intended to be the last Godzilla film, at least to some sources. It's complicated. So the crew most likely wanted to send Godzilla off with a brand new slick design. And also Musakagoji was a bigger and bulkier suit, so getting a suit actor for this role was difficult and led to an injury for a past actor. So to make the new suit, Teizo Toshimichi was brought back to bring this new design to life. The suit would have a thick, long neck, fluttering eyes, smaller dorsal plates, and it doesn't have radio-controlled eyes. This design has become the most famous suit from the Showa era, aside from SY3 SoshingekiGoji would be in 4 films during the Showa era and would go through a lot of wear and tear, but during its first appearance in Destroy All Monsters, the suit is visibly impressive, and it feels like the definitive Godzilla for this era. As mentioned earlier, SoshingekiGoji would be in 4 films. Those would be Destroy All Monsters Attack, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, and Godzilla vs. Gigan. Throughout these years, various modifications were done to the suit, and the SoshingekiGoji suit wouldn't be the same at the end of this crazy journey. I've already discussed this suit in Destroy All Monsters, so let's get into All Monsters Attack. For this film, the SoshingekiGoji suit didn't actually go through much during filming. For All Monsters Attack, the SoshingekiGoji suit was only shown in a vast open area with various trees and mountains. For those who don't know, aside from the new scenes in SoshingekiGoji, all of Godzilla's scenes in the film are stock footage from previous films. Very little to say, but thankfully the next 2 films make up for that. In Godzilla vs. Hedorah, the suit started to show its age. At this point, the SoshingekiGoji suit was 3 years old, and the age of the suit was starting to show. The neck was wobbly, the coloring was slightly off, and the suit was getting baggy. But not everything was bad, as a new addition to the suit was made for this film. When Godzilla drives his fist in Hedorah, the smog monster's corrosive body causes Godzilla's hand to be burnt to the bone, and Hedorah shoots some of its sludge into Godzilla's eye, causing it to be shut. These are really neat additions, as it adds some variety to the suit in some creative ways. The bone hand and the shut eye required new model work to be done to the suit, and Godzilla's head even appears as if it's bloated. Although I couldn't find out how these effects were done, I'd assume it was all thanks to some extra model work. To explain what I mean, I believe these effects were done by modeling onto the SoshingekiGoji suit. For example, the effects crew would model on top of the existing suit's hand to create the bone hand effect, and as for the eye, I believe that's a separate piece created to go onto the suit's eye. Now of course this is all just speculation on my part, but I'm fairly confident in my attempts to guess how these effects were done. After Godzilla vs. Hedorah, the SoshingekiGoji suit would appear in its final film, Godzilla vs. Gigan. For this final appearance of the suit, some more modifications were done to it, these being Godzilla's bloody appearance. In the film, Gigan would use his buzzsaw and blades to his advantage, and this would lead to Godzilla bleeding all over himself. Now although Godzilla did briefly bleed in Godzilla vs. Hedorah, it wasn't to the same extent as in this film. Looking at the footage from the film, it appears that the blood was put into a device that would shoot out blood possibly on command, and in order to achieve this effect, it seems like the suit had to be opened up and parts of it were cut, so that way the blood would leak out and spray into the sky. On top of this, Godzilla's eye is damaged again. Now from the looks of it, it seems that it could be a new eyepiece honestly, but I wouldn't doubt it if it's the same piece from Hedorah just modified. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any info on if it's the same piece or not. But here's the thing, considering the fact that the film's budget was severely smaller compared to previous films, it's possible that this could just be a reused piece from Hedorah. And on top of all this, to make things even worse for the SoshingekiGoji suit, although it would be in decent condition during the beginning of the film, after years of filming and the constant wear and tear, the suit would show its age at the end of the filming process. You can see visible tears, broken and dangling pieces of the suit, and parts of the suit even fly off. During all these films, one man would play Godzilla, that being Haruo Nakajima. Nakajima was one of the most well-known and talented individuals in Toho history. He played various kaiju like Baragon, Rodan, Varan, Gaira, King Kong, and of course, Godzilla. That's only to name a few, of course. Nakajima is most famous for playing Godzilla from 1954 to 1972, and although some of the time he had help, or to even play Godzilla, he was still the main man in the suit, from losing countless pounds in a suit that weighed him down, having to act in a pool that felt like ice, dealing with plenty of explosions and fire, the constant heat of being in the suit. It wasn't an easy job, but despite it all, he loved what he did, and he is forever grateful to have been Godzilla. Godzilla vs. Gigan would be the final film in which Haruo Nakajima performed as Godzilla, and ironically enough, the next Godzilla was right by his side, unknown to anyone at the time. Nakajima would end up passing away in 2017 at the age of 88. He was and always will be the favorite Godzilla of many people around the world, including myself. Just like how many fans of Godzilla take pride in their favorite kaiju, Nakajima did as well. He was truly a legend.
勇気がある人間だなというふうに思ってゴジラを志望されたんじゃないかな。だからこんな重いのにやって熱いのにライトングでやって触ってもちょっと熱いのに額に汗流しながらこう一生懸命やってましたよ。まあ成功したよ。こんなびっくりしちゃった。いや嬉しかったね僕は。だから最後まで僕のゴジラってのはフィルムに残ってますからね。 記録に残ってるからね、僕らはありがたいと思う。
Although I can't find much info on what happened to the suit after Godzilla vs. Gigan, the SoshingekiGoji suit was used in the 1970s stage show in which multiple Godzilla and Gamera kaiju came together, which itself is actually lost media. Nakajima played Godzilla in the stage show, and he was actually able to incorporate the she dance pose that he wanted to have in Destroy All Monsters, but he wasn't able to. Though admittedly, this happened when the suit was still being used, and before its final appearance in Godzilla vs. Gigan. But many believe that a piece of the suit still exists. Many believe that the head seen in this photo that was taken in 2019 is SoshingekiGoji, but I don't think so. In an old video made by Toho, it was shown off that the Daisensho-Goji head had survived, although heavily damaged. And comparing them side by side, this image and the Daisensho-Goji video, it appears that this head is the same as seen as the video, meaning this is the Daisensho-Goji head and not SoshingekiGoji. But don't worry, as in a King Kong Escapes Mook, the SoshingekiGoji suit can be seen with someone inside of it. Using Google Translation, it says that at the time of this photo, the suit was repaired, and it was 2 years since Godzilla vs. Gigan was released, meaning these photos were taken in 1974. This explains why the suit looks decent, and there's text explaining how scenes were filmed with SoshingekiGoji, fighting Gorosaurus and Gabra even. Although we have photos of it, I would love to get that footage, but considering how Toho has been releasing media that was thought to be lost, I'm sure we'll get some footage released eventually. At least I hope so. Aside from physical appearances, SoshingekiGoji would make a few appearances in the world of video games. These being Godzilla, but on the cover art, Godzilla Battle Legends, Godzilla Giant Monster March, which though technically the sprite isn't based on the SoshingekiGoji design, is still based on that Godzilla, Godzilla Movie or Studio Tour via the library, Godzilla Defense Force, and Godzilla Battle Line, but only in things like battle memories, posters, and in the Godzilla Tower video. SoshingekiGoji has become one of the most famous Godzilla suits ever made, and has become the face of the Showa era for many. Not only was the SoshingekiGoji suit used in some films that introduced iconic kaiju to the franchise that are still celebrated to this day, but it was also the final time Haruo Nakajima would play Godzilla on the big screen, but not permanently. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I apologize if I mispronounced any Japanese names. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Gojo1962, signing off.